Let's go to the second level right here on defense. I think we're all looking forward to Shemar James and his development, his next step of his career as a Gator, and even more so now with Armstrong having a background in coaching linebackers and his tendency to rush his linebackers a bit more. I'm really looking forward to, in looking at Shemar, to really break through as a big-time contributor this spring. Yes, he broke through as a freshman last year, but now I'm talking about breaking through as he's, a top defensive player for the Gators, maybe even a top defensive player in the SEC. That's the type of breakthrough I'm looking at for, hey, look, no pressure, Shemar, by the way. Yeah. go with that. So obviously can say, he broke through as a true freshman last year, 44 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, significant impact. But now, as he's going to get starter reps, break through, and probably as a starter alongside with, I'm going to Roger Mitchell here to transfer from Ohio State, Miller, Burney gone, Wingo recovering from surgery. Who knows what his status to be this spring at the same time. So Florida needed an experienced linebacker, got one in Mitchell, 1 year left, looking to make his mark this spring. Better at stopping the run, a really good run-stopping linebacker there into Roger Mitchell. So not sure how much Wingo will be available. I expect him to be in the rotation come this fall, of course. But if I'm looking at the top of the linebacker, and there's some questioning there because of the transfer portal for the Gators and linebacker, I think your top two, Shemar James to Roger Mitchell.
Yeah, I do. I like Spurlock, too, coming in on the portal as a developmental project. I think that's going to take a couple of years to really kick in. I don't think you're going to see him pop off as much here in 2023. Nunnery, certainly, you talk about special teams depth. That guy, he had was he the special teams player of the year at Houston?
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yep,
2 years ago. Yeah. So and Billy is very high on Billy Napier is very high on Jaden Robinson. I feel like every time he talks about Robinson, I've seen him talk about Robinson. His press conference on signing day, he's just glowing talking about Robinson. I know he likes his game a lot, but certainly you talk about the superstar potential there is James. And like you said, no pressure. If he doesn't develop to that level, or if he takes a step back, has a sophomore slump, this is a spot that's very vulnerable. Though a couple injuries to the wrong guys, it could be a tough time at linebacker this year for the Gators. I am very concerned about this group.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say to this group to add to what you guys have, other than Nunnery has been testing out in terms of like just his physical skills better than anybody else on the team. When you actually think about, or when you've listened to what people have said about what he's been doing, when they've seen him during the offseason program, which means he's not just a special teams player, right? A guy who's like, oh, he's got a big heart. It's like Steve Tasker, so for the old Buffalo Bills teams, where he's like 5'10" running up and down the field, and you're like, oh, it's just because he's got a lot of want to. Like, I think that's what you think of when you think of the special teams player of the year. That's not Nunnery. I think Nunnery, we've been waiting for a linebacker who can go side to side, and that's going to be the question, I think, for Florida is Mitchell has experience, but also obviously some injury concerns. Wingo injured. We don't really know what he's got. James, we want to see step up. But if you got a linebacker who can go side to side and can really excel in coverage. Again, I already talked about the tight ends forcing the defense to do something with personnel that you don't want them to do. Well, if you got a guy like Nunnery, if Nunnery can show that he can stop the run, well, now all of a sudden, if you've got a guy with those physical skills who can match up against as best you can a guy like Bowers at Georgia, all of a sudden now you've got a real asset there. And that I think is the place where if Florida's going to have a good linebacking core, it's going to come down to Nunnery stepping up. I think I sort of expect James to be good. I expect Mitchell to be solid. I think the question I have is there a third guy who can jump in there at linebacker and really sort of be that 3-down linebacker? And Nunnery, to me, has that profile.
Gators needed to hit the transfer portal at that position. They did. Hopefully those guys are some instant impact right there. But as we said, Jaden Robinson, the only linebacker recruited in the last class for the Gators. Maybe he gets on the field early as well. But now, with those transfers, you don't have to force him in to the mix as early as you would have if you didn't get those guys this spring. Now you're able to just kind of work him in. He gets his feet wet just a bit as spring practice comes up.
Want more Gators Breakdown? Join Gators Breakdown Plus. Starting at $3 a month. Get access to unique episodes, plus a blog, chat rooms, giveaways, shout-outs, and more. Gators Breakdown Plus is furthering the interaction with fans and listeners like you. Head to gatorsbreakdown.supportingcast.fm to join Gators Breakdown Plus today.